Hey friends, welcome to the Creative Business Mindset. This is your backstage pass to the realities of turning your passion into profit. My name is Joke. I'll be your host. I'm a busy mom of 3, navigating the twists and turns of life and business. You'll get the good, the bad, and the glorious mess of starting afraid, the determination to keep going no matter what. Everyone knows you for that one thing. You know what I'm talking about. It's the thing that comes so naturally to you that you're happy to do it for free. That was me until I made 6 figures in my first year as a homestager. I've made so many mistakes so you don't have to. If this Nigerian girl can do it, you, my friend, can do it too. Let's go. Today, I have with me Grant Findlay-Shirras. He has built a blueprint that turned into a $37 million real estate marketing technology company. And he built this from the scratch with no outside investors. And then he lost it all. Grant has hit rock bottom 4 different times, from multi-million-dollar company to barely able to pay the rent, learning how to rebuild, scale, and sustain new businesses with profit and freedom. Now he's bringing those lessons, experiences, and expertise into acquiring one of Canada's top home staging companies and helping others build businesses in the industry. Welcome, Grant, and thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Joke. I really appreciate it. I'm excited.
Yes. Why don't we start with you just telling our audience your story, a little bit about your background?
I was an athlete that got injured, that got into business, but took a lot of the things that made me a good athlete into business, and that helped me rise and fall, but rise again and eventually do well. I just love the sport of business. To me, it's like this amazing challenge. It's really the hardest sport out there. You got so many competitors from all over the place. And so I've just tried lots of businesses, succeeded, I failed, and I just keep at it. And I found my life soulmate partner in Amanda, who also loves business, probably more than me, because I can get pulled into playing tennis, where Amanda will get pulled into designing her house, selling furniture, making up some new product or service to sell. Like, she's nonstop. And together we're building a life that we enjoy. We have more options and more freedoms. That's how we measure our life, is, do we get to do what we want, when we want, with who we want? Not all the time. Sometimes we don't get to because something goes wrong, but we keep trying to make sure that we build that life. But I would say that's who I am and where I've been going in life.
I love it. And it sounds like you're this power couple. I didn't even know that about you, that you were an athlete. And then you bring all of that, being a sportsman, because there's so much in there: discipline, showing up, falling, rising, and all that. And you're putting it into business. I love that. So now, the first time I met you, I didn't even know who you were. You were in my class and you were taking furious notes. I think you asked 90% of the questions.
Yeah.
And they were great questions. And then later we met and I got to learn a little more about you, and I was fascinated and I wanted to get to spend more time with you. And I'm glad that we're doing this now. And you were part of the panel. You had your own class, which I missed and then caught up on the webinar. And it was quite eye-opening, because you're not just this entrepreneur. You are, like, I would say, tech bro. Because I was talking about automation and you were asking all the right questions. You're also a finance expert. You know all about business finance and what the numbers are, and what I call the vanity metrics that we all gravitate towards, that we all pay attention to. And you're like, nope, that's not what you need. But the thing that I really want to talk to you about today is the fact that you acquired a home staging business based in Canada. You want to start a business. There's a book that I read and we were talking about that you also have read, Buy, Then Build. And there is something to that about how you can start a business without starting a business. You can actually buy something that somebody else has build and then you continue to build on it. Can you tell us the first thing that you should think about if you're trying to buy a business that somebody else has built for yourself, like the basics?
The first decision that Amanda and I made when we were trying to buy a business was, what are we trying to buy? So we're very much like law of attraction people. And every single time we want something, we actually take a lot of time in getting clear on what we want. We do this with the home we're looking to buy. We did this with each other. We actually like both, without knowing each other, made lists of the kind of person we were looking for. Wow. And then we found each other. And then 6 months in the relationship, I was like, I had this list and like, you like check all the boxes. I have a list and you check. I was like, holy. So we do this. And when we exited our last business, we sat around being like, okay, we've got some money now. We've got all the time in the world. What are we going to do? And the first thing that comes to our head is, oh, we'll start another software company because that's like what we know. We did it for so long. And my advisors were like, hey, why don't you buy a business? You have the money, you have the knowledge, like starting things from scratch is very risky. Why don't you just go buy one? And I was like, I don't know. I don't really know how to do that. I've never learned how to do that. And he's like, that's a skill and you can learn it and you have the time. And trust me, it's so much better. Entrepreneurs start things all the time. You just have all these ideas. You're like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. But I was like, okay, I'm going to study it. And so maybe actually the first thing, if someone's interested in buying a business, is study it. Read that book. That was the first book we read. There's podcasts, Acquiring Minds, really great podcasts where you learn so much about other people's stories buying businesses and what it's like after buying a business, before and after buying a business. So we spent about 6 months learning and thinking. And in that process, we then also said, okay, if we're going to buy a business, what are we trying to buy? And it's not just a financial checklist of, okay, what's the price point we can go up to based on the money we have, which I was very much disillusioned to how much we could buy because I hadn't learned yet the ways to access capital and debt. In America, you got SBA loans. In Canada, you've got something similar through banks and this group called the BDC. So they will give you 60 to 90% of the purchase price. And same with SBA loans, I think, in debt to go buy the business. So then it's, okay, you should learn how much I have for a deposit, legal fees on top. You probably will need some money and working capital to reinvest in the business to fix things that are a little bit broken because there's a reason why they're selling it, and do it your way, right? Because every business owner wants to do it a little bit differently. And so we wrote down like the financial side, what we're looking for. And then we wrote down like our interests, because the one thing we learned in our last business, we grew to hate it a little bit, where we didn't enjoy it. And so we wanted to enjoy the next thing we were doing. So we wrote out our passions, what we're interested in, what we're good at, what we can get paid for, and tried to like circumvent industries and types of businesses that fit that box. Yeah. So we then figured this out and then started looking, and you just go look online. And we found a few staging and design businesses, which was in my wife's box because she went to school for interior design and architecture. And she is constantly redesigning our home and moving things around and buying new stuff from HomeSense. So I was like, you do this for free. Like literally, you do this for free. You do this for our friends and family for free. Now we can get paid on it. Sounds like a good idea. So we started looking at these businesses, and then we can go into why we bought one or the other and all the details when you're now in the process of doing due diligence.
That sounds really cool. So first of all, one of you had an interest in that field. Is that something that you would say is a requirement? Because you said it can be learned. Learn everything you can about the kind of business you want to buy. Does it mean that you have to have a background in that or an interest? At least some kind of interest, I would imagine, would help, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here, I'll break it. Interest in the business can come in two forms.
Okay.
One form is I love the business, like I love health and sports. Any business in that space, I'm going to love all parts of the business because I just love the space. Same with my wife. Anything to do with interior design and home decor, like she just loves all aspects of the business. Now, there were other businesses that we also looked at where it was like, well, this is a really interesting business. When there's construction and people are flipping signs on the street, like stop and slow and stop and slow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those businesses apparently make a ton of money.
Really?
Like,
What do they
so,
call that?
so simple. Yeah, like construction management. I
So
don't
you
know.
own a company that brings people to do the
Yeah,
flip the sign, and that's
literally, because the
business.
city, yeah. So we learned so many things when you look at businesses to buy. And I thought it was a city. I thought, like, whenever I see people in the street doing that, I thought the city, like, they're city workers,
Me
but that's
too.
not the case. That's not the case. It's usually there are these contracted companies, just like there's a contractor who then does the development for a park or a school or a firehouse, fire hall or whatever.
Interesting.
And there's another group of people who are then also hired by the city to manage the traffic.
Interesting. My kids call those the lollipop lady when we're going to school
Yeah,
and they're holding the
yeah,
sign and the
exactly.
lollipop lady. So that is a business.
Yeah, so that's a business. And we looked at it and we're like, okay, I'm not really interested in the thing that they do,
Yeah.
but I like the numbers. And then I was asking the owner, what's required by the owner for this business to grow? Because I may not be interested in the product or the service, but usually a business needs help with sales and marketing, or they need help with product development, or they need help with team management and leadership and training and recruiting. There's usually like a element of a business that is really needed to take it from here to here. And that may be the interest level. That's where I think people can look at businesses where it may be in industries that they don't know at all and aren't all that interested in, but the role that's required to make that company successful, that they're really good at and they like doing on a day-to-day basis. And so those are the two elements. Either you love the industry and the product and the service, or you love the role that you're going to have to play in order to do well.
So I guess the questions to be asking, all of the things, what is required, what is missing, what needs to get to the business to the next level, and then determine if you innately have that desire to do that or the skills to do it. And you send on a daily basis. Let's expand on that a little bit, because I've also heard, talking to business brokers and people who have sold their businesses, like nobody wants to buy a job. Because if you say that they're going to be working on it on a daily basis.
Now, I'll put a caveat on there. I have a friend of mine who worked for me in the past. Great guy, rose up within my last company, became a great manager leader, understands a lot about business now. And he's working at some other company. And I was talking to him and he's not all that happy. And I'm like, dude, why don't you go buy a business? He's, I don't have as much capital as you guys. I'm like, yeah, but the businesses where you're buying a job, if you like the job, you are now getting equity and an expense account as a business owner and potentially a better income capacity in something that you like doing. And it doesn't cost you as much, because those kinds of businesses that are you're buying a job. Say you love landscaping. You can go buy a landscaping company that already has a big clientele list, recurring revenue, and the owner is doing most of the work or a lot of the work. And so you would have to go step in and do a lot of the landscaping. But if you like being outdoors and you like landscaping, you like a seasonal business, you can dick off and go to surf in the winter and go do landscaping in the summer. Hey, not a bad idea potentially. So I know some books and things have said you don't want to buy a job. I think I didn't want to, but I don't think I can just blanket say that. I think there are some people who that might be a great opportunity for them in life. Now, Amanda and I, who have more capital, more experiences, and have just come from running a company with 40, 50, 80 people doing millions and millions of dollars a year, we did want to skip the job phase and the startup phase. And so it was really important for us, as they describe in many of these other books, you find a business that has a GM or an operations manager who handles the day-to-day. And there's a team in place and there's SOPs and there's structure, and the company has evolved such that either that GM and operations manager hopefully will stick around. That's like the ideal outcome. The second outcome is that the amount that person's getting paid, because this is actually one of the reasons why we chose one staging company over another. We saw two companies and one had a GM, both did. And then we looked at the profit and loss statement and we're like, you're only paying her like $30,000? How is she running the whole business? If she was only making $30,000, $40,000. And she tried like brushing it off. And we found out that she was getting free rent from a carriage house on the owner's property. And that was like pay.
Yeah.
And so there's all these perks that I was like, if you leave, is she still going to be living there? And if not, then she's going to need to make more money. She can go live somewhere else. And I'm like, whereas over here, that person was making six figures. So I'm like, hey, if that person leaves, I have enough money in the P&L to go find someone new at market rate. And I'm not going to be stressing out because you've paid people properly over here in this business. And so that's one thing that we looked for was the team, the leader, are people being paid market rates? And that will help me know that I have the resources already in place and if need be to replace, so I don't have to have a job and I can really work on the business. And that's why Dekora, we've been able to grow it so quickly because Amanda and I just get to focus on what do we need to buy? What marketing do we need to do? And all the changes that need to happen on the company to grow it, which sometimes is really hard to do day to day if you're like stuck in all the day to day.
Yeah, that's interesting because I like the way that you broke it down, even though all the experts say you don't want to buy a job. But it sounds like not only can you buy yourself a business, you can also buy your own job. That is the best laid plans. Like you have a job and it's yours, enjoy it and you're doing it. So going back to where you started with your real estate marketing company, I'm interested to hear what happened? How did that all come about that brought you where you are right now?
So this is the good old story of if you have a problem, you solve your own problem. And then it turns out other people have that problem. And then they want your solution that you have for their problem. That's your problem. And then it's all of a sudden you have a business. So my wife, Amanda, she was a real estate agent and I had a fitness franchise. And so we were just figuring out how to get clients. That's the problem, right? When you have a business, one of the problems usually is I need leads, I need referrals, I need clients. And so we came up with a bunch of different ways to go do that. And one of the ideas we came up with, and the idea was, if you're a local business, the people you want to meet are likely other local business owners and local homeowners and local professionals. These are the people who could refer you business or hire you. So then the question is, okay, how do I meet these people? Another principle was in growing a business, you have two ways to grow a business. You can pay for advertising or you can build relationships and get referrals. And like most local service professionals, fitness, real estate, design, staging, it's very relationship based. And so then the question is, who do I need to meet and how do I meet them? And this idea we played around with, which was back when social media was getting going, YouTube was getting going, podcasts were getting going, is if you create a website for your community and you have a podcast that showcases the businesses and the people and the professionals who live in the community, you have a reason to go up to the people who might be your clients and referral generators to say, hey, I got something really cool. It can help you grow your business. Do you want to be a part of it? And they go, yeah, that sounds amazing. And in 30 seconds, you've just booked a one-on-one meeting with someone who you hope might refer you business or hire you. And the first thing you're doing is not asking for business. You're giving value to them. Gary Vee's Thank You Economy, if you've ever read that book, had just come out. And so I've been reading all these books and came up with, I need to give value. I need to talk to people, give value, build a relationship. And then eventually their law of reciprocity will just come back my way. Yeah. And so we came up with this marketing concept for ourselves where we built a community website for where we lived. We had news and events and deals and sales and specials and all these things that people wanted to know that wasn't on a print news. There was no print newspaper, but this used to be what the print newspaper was all about. And then the hook was we had a podcast that we would interview people and create videos and blogs about the people who live and work in the community. And then from that, they got exposure, they got business. And then what do you think they did? Referred us business and hired us and said, thank you. Wow, thank you. This has helped me. And so within 6 months, we launched this. We both made an extra 6 figures in our businesses.
Wow.
And the competition, the realtors were like, hey, this is interesting because realtors are always snoopy on each other. And they're like,
everything.
Amanda, who built you this website? Because they thought we just hired a company. Who built you this website and who taught you this system? I want to do that. I'm in a different neighborhood in Toronto. We were in Toronto at the time.
Yeah.
Who would you hire to do this? And she was like, I came up with it. And they were like, really? Will you do this for me? I'll pay you money. Will you teach me? And so unbeknownst to me, I'm out training clients. I come home and Amanda's, I made $30,000 today. I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I got 10 agents to pay me $3,000. And I was like, for what? And she's, we're going to do for them what we did for ourselves. And I was like, but we're not in that business. She's like, we are now. And I'm like, okay, like this is my wife. She's really a serial entrepreneur, right? And so I'm like, okay, fine. We'll do this for them. This is great pocket change. Okay, cool. We'll do it. 2 weeks later, I have another $30,000. I'm like, what? And she was like, yeah, I got another 10 agents to give me $3,000. Because basically agents were in different neighborhoods in Toronto and everyone wanted to be the local expert in their neighborhood. And so that was the original how it started. And then we served 7,000 agents, I think 8,000 agents all over North America. Like we just took that same concept and we just worked with agents all over the place. And it was in doing so that I learned more about real estate because I didn't know anything about real estate. We added like a coaching element to the business because agents need a lot of coaching. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, great. How do you get clients and how do you service them well so they refer you business? And the one thing I kept seeing over and over again that we were teaching was you need to be staging your properties. If you're not staging your properties, you're offering less value to your customer. You're not educating them about what works. It works and it will help you turn over properties faster and make more money. Plain and simple. The data is there. It's undisputable because agents, like they get in the industry, they literally know nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm blown away at how many agents, even in Calgary, where Dekora is right now, who literally have no idea what staging is and that they don't have to pay for it. The homeowner pays for it and how it works. Like they have no idea. And I'm like, how do you not have any idea? It's the number one way to sell a home. And when we got out of the business and we're looking at businesses, and I saw this, I was like, I actually think this industry is on the rise because you can't AI furniture in a home. It's virtual. Yes, virtual staging exists and it can be useful in some ways. I know firsthand the energy level of a buyer is so important to sell. The emotion is so important to make them want to put in offers. And if they see a nice image on the internet and then walk into a bare home or a different looking home, they go, this doesn't feel good. And I think staging will be here to stay despite AI. And there's the furnishing side of the business, which you help a buyer and a seller furnish some or all of their home. And you can't sit on AI and you can't sit on a robot. You need furniture. And so I think this industry is wonderful because you can't AI and roboticize it.
Honestly, I was doing a workshop. I do startup workshops for aspiring stagers. And one of the questions that we get all the time is, with real estate markets constantly changing, is there a future for it? I'm like, absolutely. One, you cannot sell anything without marketing it, right? Staging is marketing for real estate. And everybody's like, AI. That is the one industry where you need somebody to physically move the furniture into the house, set it up, and make it look good. Yes, virtual staging, but we all know that doesn't have the same impact when you walk in the door, right? So yes, we are like a 50-year-old industry, but I think it is here to stay. And it's gone through different cycles. It's a cyclical market. It's forever going to be seasonal. This is what it is. And it's just the same for a lot of businesses. I feel like most businesses are seasonal in nature. And you just have to understand the ebb and flow and the times when it is good, plan ahead, because the other time is coming around the corner. It just is what it is. But what I hear you say too is about marketing and how you started that. That is a fascinating business because you're serving people's needs. You are putting out solutions to problems that people have. You're bringing out that solution. And I think a lot of people miss the mark in marketing because people are like, see what I can do for you. This is me. But it's so changed from the way sales and marketing used to be, right? About providing value, showing the value first before you ask for the business. And that's what you did. And I think that's why you and Amanda were so successful in the real estate marketing, because A lot of businesses, especially if you're a local business, you're not like an online business, you are going to have to get out there and meet people. Because I was talking about marketing yesterday and they were like, are there other ways? I'm like, yes, there are other ways. You can pay your way into marketing, but there is the low hanging fruit and it's a relationship based business. Before they give you the business, they want to trust you. Yes, you can certainly spend all the money on the ads and you should still do that. But there is nothing that replaces the one on one and the in person thing. You are a marketing expert. What would you say is the biggest marketing investment that you make that you see the biggest return on for your business, or that you would advise that somebody buys a business and it has a marketing problem, for example? What should be their focus and where should they go and how do they determine? Because not there's so many different channels and not every channel is right for every business. So what would you say? How do they determine that?
Because every business is different, I'll give like a framework answer and then I'll tie it to Dekora and staging at the end. If someone came to me and said, I had a business, what should I do to grow my sales? My first question would be, where do your sales come from right now? Because a lot of people spread themselves too thin, too soon. Yes, in theory, there's this message that goes out there. You need lots of streams of leads and lots of streams of income. And yes, however, there's stages and steps to getting there. And the thing that we've benefited the most in our life and what we were taught in Silicon Valley, where we were part of 500 startups, which was like one of the best accelerators and the smartest people who have grown Facebook and Twitter and Uber and Google. And they were all like in our office teaching us how to grow a company. And the one thing they said was, find the thing that's working the most and go squeeze that thing, go all in, spend as much resources, time, and money as you possibly can on that thing until you see the cost to acquire a customer go too high or the amount of customers you're starting to go down, and then you can go look for another channel. I think a lot of people, they go, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of print, a little bit of ads, a little bit of events, and a little bit of social media. And they just go a little bit of a whole bunch of things. And the first step is to figure out what's working and do as much as you possibly can from that one channel, whatever that channel may be. And I'll get to what ours is as Dekora right now. Now, then there's like brand new business owners who, when they ask this question, I'm like, where do you get your business? They're like, I'm brand new, so I don't know yet. And I go, okay, who has the business that you want? Look at their business and take them out for coffee or dinner or something and ask them how they got there. Because you don't necessarily need to do the marketing they're doing right now, but you want to do the marketing they did when they were at the beginning like you. And that's another problem that people do is they look at the model, which is a good thing to do, to look at a model, but don't look at what they're doing now because they're ahead of you. Figure out what they did at the beginning and the path to go get there. And that will give you clues on what you should be spending your time and money on. Now, when it comes to Dekora and home staging and design, it's a relationship and referral-based business. I think a lot of local businesses, local services, the majority of the business comes from relationship and referral. You want your business to come from relationship and referral because it's more profitable than spending a whole bunch of money on advertising. When you spend money on advertising, you're just instantly cutting your profit margin down because you're spending before you make. But if you get your business because you have a great brand and relationships and referrals, then you're more profitable. Problem is that a lot of people found was, how do you scale that? That was why advertising became really popular, was because it just seemed easier to make more money, but it was make more revenue, not necessarily more profit. And that's something that you always got to stay focused on, is profit. How much money you're keeping, not how much money you're making, which is an ego thing. And the challenge is, how do you scale relationship and referral-based marketing? And that's actually just a skill. And that's what, Amanda and I have just been studying for 15 years for our businesses and for other people's businesses, is how to grow through relationships and referrals. And you need to spend money to go meet new people. And that, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It's like your gas. Yeah, you're going to spend money on gas. You're going to spend money on coffees and dinners. You might spend money on lunch and learn events that you put on at brokerages, and you might spend money at trade shows and events to meet people, but you need to meet new people. Then you need to have an offer. So what is the offer that you're going to present that makes them go, if I need you now or later, I'm going to use you versus anyone else because your offer is so great. Basically, what you're doing is you're spending money when they hire you to add more value to them. And so you haven't spent that money yet, but you're committed to spending more money than the typical service to provide extraordinary service that makes them want to hire you in the first place. And then you've now start to build your relationships, your database, and your past clients and your friends and your family. And in this business, you're building your referral partners of realtors and builders and developers and designers. Like, you need to just start building that database. And then you're going to be spending money on email marketing, on social media marketing, and on gifts and events and appreciations and things to add value to your database so that you stay top of mind and they want to refer you and hire you again in the future. There isn't that much money to spend. It's more time, and time is money. And potentially for me, who has a bigger business, my time is spent hiring people to go do that work. And therefore, that is my investment. My investment is not in Facebook ads. My investment is in people to go meet people, to go give offers, people to go nurture the database and add value to my clients and my past clients and my partners. That's my investment. But that's the best investment I could be making in a relationship and referral-based business.
The thing you said about scaling that, though, being in person, doing all the events and all, I started out with just doing open houses. I committed to, I'm going to do 2 open houses every Saturday, 2 every Sunday. By the end of 1 month, I had 20 contacts. But the thing is, and I did that for the longest time until I didn't need to do them anymore. And then I started paying my people to go out and do them. And then we kept expanding that. And then doing events, the lunch and learns, and then find the agents like, can you add me to your vendor list at your brokerage, and do that, multiply that by however many brokerages in the area. Suddenly, referrals are falling in my lap just because I met one agent at an open house and I asked them to put them on my put me on their referral list. And then I attended all the events, and then I'm doing all the lunch and learns, and then I'm doing now events at the NAR. I'm an affiliate and I do classes, clock hour classes. Everybody knows you. Everybody sees your face all the time. And I'm going to email you. I'm going to call you. I'm going to text you until you tell me to stop calling you. Because I send people to go do open houses when I work with students, because I work with aspiring stagers or other stagers. And I'm like, go do open houses, show up, meet people. Yeah, I went and then I didn't get a call. But how many did you do? How many times did you call them? How many times did you follow up with them? It takes time. There is that statistics and data about how many times you need to reach out to a person before they become a paying client. And if you think about all the things that you buy, how many times has that ad dropped into your inbox? How many times have you seen it on Instagram? How many times have you seen it on YouTube before you decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to buy it? It's the same, and you just have to keep at it. But I find that people want the easy and the quick way out, and it just doesn't work. And this is the reason why we have like 15% of businesses survive, and it's a sales problem, a profit problem, and all those little things. But it takes time. That is the truth. There is no magic bullets. You have to do the work if you want to get up.
And I'll say, like, in our last business, it was a software company where we served people all over North America. So the strategies were completely different. We spent a lot of money on Facebook ads and Google ads and Instagram ads, and that grew the business.
Yeah.
But it's because of the kind of business we were. Whereas a local business, yes, if you have a great offer and you have profit from building a foundation of a business with your brand and relationships and referrals, there will likely become a point where I start investing in paid marketing for Dekora. And the best way to invest in paid marketing is when you know something you've done that's organic is working. But for local businesses, especially staging and design, it's all relationships. Like you also have to think about like how a customer buys your service in the first place. A homeowner is not looking for a stager. The realtor tells them who to talk to. A builder may Google search for a stager to help them, but they're probably going to ask their friends who they use, or they already know someone and they're just going to go use them.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then it's all about how you meet people. And then there's like this myth about time. I used to prove to agents, because agents would be the same thing. They're thinking I can just spend money on marketing and advertising to build my real estate agent business. And I'm like, show me the agent who you love in their office and you think that person makes a ton of money, has a great lifestyle. And they point them out. And I'm like, where's their business come from? They're like, relations referrals. And I was like, so then why do you want to spend money on advertising to go do it? To go, it's faster. And I was like, maybe if you pick the wrong strategy of how to build relationships, it could be faster to buy advertising. But if you do the right thing, it actually will be faster to build relationships and start getting referrals because they multiply. One person can lead to lots of business. Real estate agents, the same thing. One person can refer you to multiple people. Same with staging, especially. One realtor can give you 5, 10, 15 clients in a year or more. One builder can give you multiple properties in a year. And so then when you think about the world of attention and building relationships, this is why we are starting a podcast. Dekora is going to be starting a podcast because there's that statistic where like in the 1950s or 60s, it was like you needed to put 4 ads in front of someone in order to get their attention because there wasn't that many forms of advertising. And we used to all go to the mailbox and get our mail and be like, it's mail time. And it used to be this great fun event to go look at every single freaking piece that goes in our mailbox. And now we don't even look at it. We just grab it and we just chuck it. But there was a time when we used to actually look and it was like a whole event. Remember that? And what happened is over time, the amount of times you had to be in front of someone before it created an effect has gone up. And if you lightly are in front of someone at a networking event, or you're lightly in front of someone at a trade show, or you're networking your kids' or soccer game or whatever, those are like light touches where the person knows what's going on. But then I would always tell people, hey, can you close your eyes and remember like the best concert you've ever been to or the best sports game you've ever been to? And people are like, absolutely. And I go, but that was just one experience. Like you just had one experience and you remember it forever. And they go, yeah. So that's the goal in building relationships, is that you figure out an experience to give someone in your first interaction that actually your first interaction may be longer. It may not be a little 5-minute chat. It may be half an hour to an hour or more, like a podcast. But then the experience they have with you is so good and so great, and you add so much value that they remember you forever, and you can now move on to the next person, knowing that person is not forgotten about you and will likely remember you to hire you and refer you. And that is a more efficient way because you're basically jam-packing 7 years of seeing that person in your hockey league into one meeting and creating an effect, and then letting that effect have a result on your business and moving on. And I'm all about trying to create experiences and wows with people, because that will speed up the chance that they then hire you and refer you business more quickly.
Yeah, I love that. And honestly, the old way of referrals is always still the best. And when you think about the cost of acquiring new customers versus nurturing the ones that are in front of you that can continue to give you business, it just takes so much more money, so much more effort to acquire new business. But yeah, there's room for the Google ads and all that. I run Facebook ads for my training business because that is an online business. Still, I'm in front of agents. I'm visiting brokerages. I'm doing all the things with them. I've had so much fun talking to you, and I'm looking forward to your podcast. So what famous last words do you have for our audience? I know that you are all about the numbers, the metrics, the KPIs, and I don't want to let you go without mentioning just a little bit about what I call the vanity metrics versus what do you really need to be looking at for your business. For example, somebody who is just starting, what should you be paying attention to in terms of numbers, and what is nonsense that doesn't make sense for you to look at?
Yeah. So I'll say if I had to pick one number between revenue, profit, and cash, I'd pick cash.
Okay.
I want to be tracking the cash flow in and out of my business. It's important to know what's going on with those other three metrics, but cash is more important. Then the reason why most businesses fail or don't reach their goal, it's like you get into business because you have a goal of how much money you want to make and the time freedom you want to have. The number one reason why you don't get there is sales, plain and simple. Like we can all think of inferior products and services that still do very good. Look at McDonald's. Do they have the best burgers in the world? No. But do they make a lot of money? Yeah. And sales is the most important thing. And there's metrics to, hey, how many people did I meet today? How many leads are coming in? How many appointments did I go on? What's my close ratio? And how many new sales did I make? And what revenue did I bring in? There's a little just funnel that you want to keep track of because you want to look at what's the piece of the funnel that I need to improve. Do I need to improve my ability to get new people in at the top? Or do I need to improve my ability to convert or upsell and make them bigger? And so those metrics, I would say, the next most important things. And then I think the next big one I see a lot with business owners and with teams is how you spend your time. Time is money. Time is your most precious asset. You can't get time back. You can get money. You can't get time back. And I think a lot of people, I do this every year myself, and for everyone in the company, every company I've ever been in, at least once a year. I say, journal your time in 15-minute increments for 2 weeks. Let's see where your time is going. And that data is going to help you understand, what do I need to spend more time on? What do I need to spend less time on based on my goals? What can I delegate and get someone else to do? Because that's how you grow a business. You spend more time on certain things, less time on certain things. You get other people to spend time on things that they can.
Yeah.
And you just do that over and over and over again at bigger scales. And your ability to understand how everyone in your team is spending their time will allow you to optimize everyone's time and who should be doing what so that you can grow a bigger business, including yourself as the owner. To me, like most finance metrics are an outcome. And you want to track them because we all want to know where we're at on these metrics. But the most important things are the activities that are being done on a daily basis that will result in the outcome. Because if you're dragging your feet and over budget on your staging projects, you're not going to do well. If you're spending too much money in dumb areas, you're not going to do well. If you're not meeting new people and getting new leads coming in, you're not going to do well. And so these are fundamental things I think just people should focus on. And then there's other content out there. They can talk to me about the finer details of tweaking when I get later down the road.
Every time I feel like, okay, this is the last question, something else comes up from what you say, because you were talking about how cash is king and managing your time. I keep reeling it back to the person who is a startup, because I work with a lot of aspiring stagers, and the place where they spend their time. And people, I call it buffering from what I learned from my own coach. I have a life coach, and they're buffering, especially creatives. We are so in that space of, I want to make things pretty before I start. I want to build the website. I want to create that logo. And you keep tweaking, and then you get stuck in the build mode and you never actually start. So that is the part where time is precious, and you have to think about, where do you want to go with this? And the time you're spending, is it getting you closer to that thing? You're talking about time and money in terms of somebody who is already doing the business. And I'm trying to think in terms of somebody who is just starting. How does that relate to them, especially the time?
Yeah. Where that comes from is a fear that people won't buy their service. So I need to do all this planning and prepping and building of the website and the logo and the buying of the furniture because I'm not confident and I fear rejection and I fear failure. So one way that I've talked to myself, whenever you start something brand new, it still comes up. And I have to keep reminding myself, and this is what Amanda is really good at, is you don't need a product to sell a product. It's been shown in so many industries. You can sell something to figure out what your customer wants and then go get it and solve it for them and fulfill it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing immoral about that. You're just actually efficiently spending your time and resources on what exactly your customer wants and nothing else, because you are hypothesizing what people want in a vacuum, and you could be wrong. And this is what the second piece, which is you don't know what your customer wants until you talk to them and get them. You don't know what good quality is until you've done it a bunch of times. So don't even try to answer that question until you get customers. And it's not, again, like you're screwing them over. It's, I'm going to get customers to do an amazing job for them. And in doing so, I'm going to learn what I should be spending my time and my money on. So you go there and you talk to your customers and you know you're going to knock it out of the park for them and spend more time and money. You probably will later in your years 2, 3, 4, when you have lots of clients, because you got all the time in the world. And the great thing about being a new business owner is you can provide a better service in some respects than a business that's been doing it for a long time, because you don't have that many clients. So you can do a really great job and go above and beyond because you don't have that many overhead and you don't have that many clients, where a big business has overhead and clients and team and management all to think about while they execute something. And I think the third piece that people need to remember is that there's a reason why people will hire you over your competition. It's a different reason why they will hire your competition over you, but there is a reason why there will be people who would prefer to work with a brand new person than a big company. And you just got to figure that out and then lean on that and go sell, because the first thing that every startup has to do is make money. If you don't make money, you don't have a business. You just have an idea and a hobby and a thing that can eat your cash. So sell and then just do a great job.
That too. Do a great job. I love all of the things that you've shared. So we're leaving them with cash is king. Keep an eye on your cash flow. Watch your time, where you're spending your time. And then you don't need a product. I love that. You don't need a product to sell a product. That's what they call the proof of concept. You go out, find the people who need your thing. You do the thing, do it well. And now you have a business. Thank you so much, Grant. So what offer do you have for my listeners? Where can people find you? And what if they want to work with you?
Yeah, just follow me on social media. Shoot me a DM. Not some crazy influencers get so much DMs that I won't respond. So if you DM me and ask me questions, I will respond. And before I launch a coaching business, or I have been a consultant before, I've done lots of coaching in different respects. Now I'm just trying to grow Dekora. So I don't have an offer, but my true passion in life is coaching people. Like I've done it in sports, I've done it in business and health. I love it. And so I just love seeing people go from A to B and improve their life because of something I may have done. Yeah. So shoot me a message if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. Just follow me on social media at Grant Findlay-Shirras. Check out Dekora. If you're in Calgary, come check us out. Come to our office, say hello, and good luck.
Thank you. I really enjoyed my time with you today. And thank you, Grant. And it's a wrap. You've been listening to the Creative Business Mindset podcast. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you for listening and keep doing all the things. Until next time.